Satan didn't have much time to react to the war Gat was waging, because at home, Jezebel was waging a war of her own.
I don't love them!
You think I care?
If you started acting like a father, you would.
I'm looking after your best interest.
You don't care about my happiness! This is about you! If you just stop telling—
You will marry that saint, and I won't hear another word!
I won't do it!
Hey guys, I'm X19, welcome back to another tryout. Today's tryout is on Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell. I'm specifically playing the Xbox 360 version, because that's the version that I own, and it's backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X, it's where I played it, rather than the, remastered or whatever Xbox One release, because I don't have that one, so that's what I'm talking about today. So you may have noticed that since, late to mid-September, I've been mostly focusing on doing, spooky or Halloweenish themed games since then. This is the last one in the sort of spooky season before we get into the winter season for the channel here. So the last game where I'm going to feature for this whole spooky season situation that I don't particularly announce is Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell. I played through and I really enjoyed Saints Row 4 a number of years ago. I don't remember exactly how long ago, but it's been a hot minute since I originally finished that. And I had a good time with it. I was one of the games that I just played quite a bit. I think it was in college or whatever. Had a good time with that. So I figured this is basically like a direct sequel, so we'll see how this goes. Since it fits the sort of spooky Halloween theme that I've been doing for the past couple months. More like two months, I think. So this will finish it off. And basically this is just more of the same. This is just more Saints Row 4, kind of. It's interesting to me that, between this game and Saints Row 4, the Saints Row series has almost just turned into Crackdown, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because Crackdown is a really good game. But, you have a lot of the same, superpowers and stuff like that as you do in Crackdown. And I had a good time with Crackdown as well, so that's a good sign. That's a compliment. Now, you may or may not remember, but a while back, I think in the first season of tryouts, I did a tryout on Grand Theft Auto 5, and I didn't particularly like it. And this is very, Saints Row has stepped up to be a very different thing than Grand Theft Auto, even though it started as sort of a copycat. It's sort of become this sort of bigger, sillier, more crude, other thing with, just, it's silly. This game takes place in hell. This game, have all these weird powers. It's basically taking the formula set out by Grand Theft Auto and making something extremely fantastical out of it, at least at this point in time. The reboot seems like it's going back to the sort of the roots of the series a little bit, because where do you go after you go to space and then go to hell? You gotta reboot after that. I think the best part about Saints Row: Gat Out of Hell is the flying mechanic. It's just really satisfying. I played for about 2 hours, a little under 2 hours, and I spent most of that time just flying around the open world hell, the city or whatever, and just flying around collecting these orbs that are your special skill points for your superpowers, and just flying around and doing that. And that it by itself is just fun to do. And honestly, I can almost just recommend the game on that. I'm just having a really good time just being around, traversing the world. I have driven a car once when I was shown to in the tutorial. That's it. So just flying around, it has a really nice feeling of momentum. You jump off the buildings, you dive, and then you get so much speed off of a long dive, and you just go. And once you upgrade the wings, the skill that lets you fly, you can fly longer. You can continue pick up speed without having to dive more times in one flight. That's fun. I'm just gonna probably play more of that part of the game, and who cares about the rest of it. As for some negatives to it, it definitely shows its age. It is an Xbox 360 game, and it definitely sort of feels like it. It looks like it. It's a bit clunkier. It's not as like high fidelity as more modern games, even with the similar kind of art style would have. So like, it's just, you can tell it's old, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is sort of a negative. You can tell that it's old. It's got some jank to it. Some of the collision can be weird, but like, that doesn't necessarily matter when it's just fun to play. And then my other negative is that the narrative pacing is kind of weird. I think this is basically like a standalone expansion to Saints Row 4 rather than its own game, but its sort of narrative pacing is weird. I remember the original game being paced a bit better, or Saints Row 4, I remember being paced a bit better, where like, there was a narrative with beats and you could sort of go along, you sort of were going along it even though you were sort of messing around in the open world. Whereas in this game, it's just sort of like, you have all of these objectives. They're just sort of dropped on you at the beginning, and doing pretty much anything progresses the story. So like, I've mostly just flown around. I got all of the powers through doing all like the main quest parts to get all of your superpowers, the basic ones. Then I've flown around and done some side objectives in the open world, and I've progressed the like story progress bar a quarter of the way without sort of doing a story. It's weirdly paced and weirdly structured in that way. And so if you're coming here for something, for a story, I feel like I think maybe you're looking in the wrong place. The story in Saints Row 4 is silly and crazy, but it is more of a story that's told to you directly, rather than just sort of like, you want to play as Gat or Kinsey and just run around to hell and fly around and have fun? That's sort of what the MO here is just fly around hell and have fun. And I think it really accomplishes that. And if you can't tell, I've said mostly positive things. This game passes tryout. I will most likely play more of it. There's a very high chance that I will play more, because I had a really good time. I almost didn't want to. I was like, I should probably stop because I feel like this might not be that long. So, yeah, that's that. So we'll get into the end bits here. That's what we do around here. So if you like the video, hit the like button. If you dislike the video, hit the dislike button. If you want to keep with this and other things on the channel, subscribe, leave a comment, share the video. Links in the description, all the places, Twitter, Patreon, Redbubble. Do the things. And anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Try harder than that, Satan. Let's get you two back to Dave.
Hooray!